Sorry, that felt like I was trying to diminish your work. I love designers. I cannot design for the life of me. Okay, so I'm gonna start with a very simple but hard question of like, okay, so it's 2024, right? Right, cool. Does anyone forget how old they are? Okay, that's not the point. It's 2024, and I want to ask, like, why do we still think that having panels like this and talking about women in tech is still relevant? Have names here.
Okay, have my name, right?
Yeah, that's your name, yeah.
Okay. I think good proof of why we need to still talk about women is the percentages of women that work in tech and in the tech field are still pretty low. I think that's a very good proof in order to make us think why. And also, I think we all the ladies that are here today in the panel have much experience and examples to share of why this happens, why this still happens, and I think it's going to be a great talk supporting it.
Yeah, I mean, and to add to that, like, if we look at the room and what I think Katerina said from Deloitte, we have so less representation of minorities in this room, I would say. So definitely, we need more women, more minorities in the room everywhere, because tech is for everyone. And for that, we need to keep talking about it. Like, it shouldn't just be a checkbox anywhere. We need to keep talking about it to keep everyone included and involved.
I don't say that I actually don't think it should be a checkbox anywhere, period. Like, I applied to a bunch of jobs in the UK and they all asked me if I was gay. And I think that's fucking weird. Like, they have these checkboxes for, like, diversity's sake, and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable sharing my sexual preferences with you. I think that's just kind of a weird way of looking at things, to be like, okay, now you filled in this form. And be like, if you fit these categories, like, how many diversity points do you have? And then depending on how many diversity points you have, I have to. Then, like, you may join us. I just want to make sure that we involve, like, non-binary people into this conversation as well. Like, it's an issue in general for anyone who is a minority. Okay, so I want to talk about walk around a little bit about when y'all started tech. I was gonna say guys, and I can't do it because it's a women tech thing. Feels wrong. I'm still gonna do it. Guys, what's up? Okay. So I want to talk about some of the issues that you felt when you were starting in tech. Like, I know it depends a lot on how you started, like, but when you started, especially when you hear from people that went to college, maybe, of like, what are some issues that you felt when you were like getting started with tech? Anyone can pick up the mic. I have names though, so if no one does, then I got names.
I think that you can go on. I don't know about university, but I would rather say about my first job, getting my first job. I had the feeling that, like women, first of all, we were like a group of 15 developers and only 3 women. So again, the percentages told the story that maybe it made me feel that maybe women don't belong there if they're so few. Why there are so few women? And another thing was the feeling that the important jobs, the challenging tasks were taken mostly by men, and women were more on the sideline. They were like more silent or not in the center of attention. And this made me feel like doubting myself, doubting my skills, my capabilities. So this also happened in the second job I got. Thank God I kept changing jobs.
Like,
So today here I'm also just having this very interesting discussion.
When did you start and how did you feel when you came to this? Oh, you don't have to tell me when you started, but you can tell me later. Yeah, so I started like 2 years ago. But JavaScript was running my own company, and then I hired 2 developers. I tried to compare the
telling me like, oh, we spin up like 2 databases, and so I was like, wait, since I tried to understand that, I tried to communicate, but I couldn't, so I tried to I learned programming, and then eventually I write that front end, and then I write that anti-block cluster, and I apply myself. And then, yeah, it was how it started. But on the general feeling of how I feel is people put very little effort into communication, and it kind of is the start of why I started programming and what pushed me into get further into, okay, I want to program well, but I also want to communicate well to work with my coworkers. Yeah.
Well, I started 20 years ago, and when I started my first job, I was one between 20, 25 men. And the most challenging thing that I faced was the comments that I was receiving, and everything was contributed to being humor. This was not humor. And at least throughout these past years, things have changed. However, what I've noticed is that if a woman is not so, how can I say, confident, out loud, and she goes after what she wants, you will say that she's not given so many opportunities as other people. And I think this is something that we should change. Unfortunately, another thing that we need to talk about is that sometimes the HR, they're just, as you mentioned, they're just trying to check a box. They're not really paying attention how they can change the culture, how they can remove the biases, not only for women, but also for other minorities, people with disabilities, people with cognitive issues, something like that.
So personally, I was fortunate enough not to have significant challenges right then and there. But as I move forward in the workplace, I can't stop but wondering what challenges might arise because I know the biases that still exist in our field. I have some examples of these biases in the workspace. For example, I had a female colleague that we worked on the same project, and I attended some business meetings. In those meetings, she would often offer solutions or pinpoint some of the problems or risks that might happen. Okay. But her ideas were often brushed off or totally ignored. And later on, a male colleague would say the same ideas, and they were praised as brilliant or valid. Another example is that in presentations that I was part of, there were comments like that science, like computer science or mathematics, are more suitable for men, and for women are more suitable soft roles like project management and not technical leadership.
I want to finish this question with a very different approach. I was from another industry. I was working in architecture, and the women were the majority there. And I feel that it was more pressure for me, and we have a lot of things to work on between our. It was very competitive, and I want to say a positive note there that I feel that in the tech industry in general, the community is more open, and for me it was easier to come in and stay and love it. So I know that we have some issues, but we have to see the positive side. That it's a community and it's open, and we can all be there and find our role.
Sorry, I would like to add to. Yeah, so apart from what we all said, I feel that no matter how you join the company, like of course you get to interview and everything, you are as equally talented, but still there's this notion which most of the time people don't say, but there's an assumption that because you are women or a minority, maybe you are just a quota hire, like maybe you don't have that much talent. And that is something which I've felt everywhere. Like I have felt it. I've also heard comments like how you said, where people will say that, yeah, like this coding thing and stuff is not really for women. like it's not suited, maybe other jobs are suited better for women. And even when we're outperforming, and that's very sad because then we have to outperform just to prove that we are good enough, and that really happens a lot. So, plus one more point, because you said about guys, right? Like most of the times we just say guys in the room. Long ago, I read about it, and like that's after that, I always use it. I think neutral is much better to use because as a woman, I know that many of us have accepted that guys is a gender neutral term. I don't accept it, anyways. I think folks, everyone, like team, there are many gender neutral terms that we can use. So I generally go for folks or everyone because then it also corresponds to the non-binary people. Like it's more accepting in general, and that also keeps me like in the room when people are just saying, "Okay, guys, what are we doing about it?" I'm like, "Okay, you're not talking to me then." So I do feel not included when we use guys in most of the places, and I think we need to do better. So yeah.
I normally say y'all.
Yeah, like
I love y'all.
exactly.
Y'all is the
Something
best
gen-
sentence.
Something gender.
I think that's the thing. The only way I can remember is if I say something like y'all. Otherwise, my brain will just go to guys. I think that's also for like learning English from TV, right? There's actually I have a really fun / sad story. Back when I lived in Portugal, I was interviewing for a role for like a front-end developer. I don't even remember exactly what the role was. And there was this completely normal guy, like 23-year-old white Portuguese guy, came in there, answered questions okay, like it was like a 6, right? Just like barely hanging on. But we were like, okay, we really need people who look like a nice guy. So after that, he had like the interview where you're like trying to find out if he's actually a nice guy. To which he said that in general, men are better than women in tech. And you need to understand that this was performed by like one woman and a guy. So it was like he was saying this to a woman's face, and she was like, "Why do you think that?" And he said, and I shit you not, because in cave times, and you know it's gonna be good when someone starts with in cave times. So because in cave times, men only have to do one thing and women have to do several, so it's really hard for them to focus. And I'm just like, no, bro, I just have ADHD. Like it's a different problem. We're not talking about it. But it's like, this is not common. This is the only time I've had this in my entire life. Like I'm sure some people think this, but like there's also misogyny inside of women. Like it's a problem in general. But like sometimes it's very internalized even. Like I'm not good enough because I'm a woman. I got a new phone and I forgot to put all my fingers in it. So I have to like do the thing. Okay, so one thing that I want to talk about is that like I feel like there is a lack of like, even though like technically women invented computer programming, I feel like there's a lack of representation in terms of like technical leadership and like CEO leadership. So Lois.
Women has lots of representation in technical leadership.
No, I think there's a lack of like both in technical and like like CEO based level, which is yeah.
Do you know the IBM CEO, the girl?
Wait, do they have more CEOs? I mean, technically Blue Sky is also.
She got retired. She was an engineer.
Women are lazy.
Oh, she before she retired, she was she was an engineer, and then she worked up the ladder and become the CEO of IBM. I think the women on general, I feel like a lot of girls are afraid of speak up or like speak up so many times that we're tired. We have told the story many times, stop saying that to me, and people are still doing it, and eventually it got tired. You don't talk about it anymore. I think, talking about leadership, I don't know how other people feel. I don't think that's leadership. I really like to train the guys around me when they say any bad jokes or like things that's just one line that feels offensive to me, but I would take it up right there. I'll tell them if they say something like that's what she said, and everyone feels normal, and guys would feel absolutely normal to say that's what she said. But if you feel offended, because I feel offended, I will tell them, okay, stop it, stop everything we are working on. I could have said that. Yeah, don't say that to me. Like, you have girlfriends, I might have partners in the future. If we have this type of culture in the company, people are able to say jokes like this. Like, your personal if your partner knows this, or my partner knows this, people are not gonna be happy. And I'm not happy right now. So never say it to me, and remember this. So I would literally speak up and tell them don't. And I would go really harsh. And if they are not clear, I'll say again.
I think the fact that we are still trying to find those companies that have women CEO is an issue. And if we look a bit deeper into the problem, I think in order to be able to climb the ladder, you need to start from the base. And as I said, I'm working in the field for more than 20 years. Though the numbers have grown, they are not big enough. I think we need to have more women starting their careers in the market. And this starts from the universities, from other ways of being captured and attracted into the IT world. And then we need to make sure that within the companies, we have the processes so that we can support not only women. I'm supporting that we need to be equal to everyone, no matter if they are a woman, man, minority, whatever. But we need the support system, the process and the bias in order to help those people progress. And then those people can even reach the top. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I'd like to add something to what Lois said about having to speak up many times, and it gets sometimes tiring, or sometimes if you should handle this injustice that you feel, and sometimes it gets me out of my boundaries. For example, I may get a bit aggressive sometimes for not a good reason. However, there's always the chance to apologize, but I think it's important to speak up and take risks, because even speaking up is taking a risk, a personal risk, exposing yourself, exposing what you feel. And there are examples when I have done so, where I have found from the other side understanding or curiosity, even curiosity, and I had the chance to explain more about myself, and I think this is something important to underline, that not everyone is like not understanding or against you, or so we have to take chances. We have to speak up. We need to be difficult, and I think that there are many men allies to us in the workplace or friends, or I mean, they're very important to us and they do a great job. And among all these, I think that women struggle every day to keep their position in there. But there are also some, shiny moments that keeps us going.
Yeah, I do want to point out that, like, in general, I felt like every time I have expressed something like that, I've been understanding. Like, I feel like the issue is expressing it yourself and being like, I don't like that. Like, because, like, you feel that, and I think it's just, a lot of it is just internalized. Like, I think a lot of the issues I have are more internalized than anything else. Okay. So one thing that I want to talk about is that right now, and I mean, it's getting better, but I'm not American. Like, the job market kind of sucks. Like, it's not going well. And like, I want to talk about one thing. Like, I've always felt like tech has been kind of an equalizer for a lot of minorities and for people like me who could go to college, because the thing is, I had bad grades and I was poor, and the combination of both made me not go to college. You could have either one or the other, but I had both. I was EU poor, not actually poor. Very different. And I think that, like, the fact of being in a group where, like, being in a job where I could just go in and be a junior and learn things, I think was something that kind of became an equalizer. And so we ended up with very diverse communities. Like the JavaScript community is very diverse, and like others, like Python is also very diverse. Even harder languages like Rust are very diverse. And I think a lot of this had to do with that. And I want to talk a little bit about how like the job marketing sucking ass is actually like really screwing up our juniors, and how we're like basically removing this thing that was an equalizer and that allowed people to go up in society and pay for their parents' shit. And does anyone want to talk about that? Because I feel like I've talked for a very long time right now. Everyone knows way too much about it. The love of God.
Like, for the amount of time I've been in this industry, I would classify myself as a junior. But like, if, I know for a fact that I'm junior, but if I'm out and talking, I would not talk like a junior. I think that's my give or take whenever I speak to someone or like I go to an interview, nobody would consider me junior. And I think that's the amount of time you actually invest in like learning what are the actual primitives in the industry, and people like Node.js. I haven't gone to the code base yet. Yeah, but be confident. I feel like women in general, if I have heard a lot of stories of like girls, both girls and boys tell me like how hard it is to find a job. But I think confidence and believe in yourself that you can kick ass is so important. Yeah.
So one more aspect which I see a lot today in industry in general is lack of good mentorship. Because juniors do need mentorship in order to like learn more, right? Like I have learned from good mentors, like I had good seniors, I absorbed it. But right now I do see a trend where we just expect everyone who is just hired, let's say out of college or something, that they just start performing like just in this shortcut, a competition, whatever. I do think that we need to, or we all who have more experience, we need to put a bit more time in mentorship. And also for the people who are starting up, everyone who starts up, we need to seek mentors. We need to, let's try to like look at someone as mentor and like learn from people, like because it's in tech industry, it's just not about coding, right? Coding, yes, we do code. It's much more than that. It's about how we solve problems, how we approach a problem, and these things come with experience. And also a cue for companies, right? The company should invest a bit more in mentorship still. We shouldn't just hire a person with 10 years of experience in a framework which was just released last year. We need to do a bit more better than that.
That's a very common issue we have here in Greece. All the job that we see is senior developer with 10 years of experience or something. And I want to focus only on to stress something more, that companies also have a very big responsibility on this. They have to invest on people, they have to invest on juniors, because this is a motive for also for them to stay on this company and to see that someone has invested to me, and I will try harder and I will be focused on your companies. So please, if you are working in companies and you're working in HR and you're working in a higher position, you have to pressure more your companies to invest in juniors, because we don't have so many seniors, and that junior people have to find a way to become senior in some way.
Definitely, yes, I agree very much. So I think one thing that I want to like calm down and be like, want to ask like, how do y'all see the future of tech going forward? So much in terms of communities as in terms of like jobs and just the tech itself.
Okay, so I think one privilege that we have within IT sector is that it doesn't matter how you start. It doesn't matter if you start from university or if you are self-learning. There is so much room to start and expand your knowledge. And even within the IT sector, if you start, you can move between roles, between industries, and this is really helpful. I'm coming from a small town in Greece, and I see there are many women who haven't had the chance to educate, to go to university and study something. But the tech could open up opportunities for them, not only for women, but also for other minorities. And because we come from the accessibility field, we will see things changing, especially with the European Disability Act. I don't know if you're aware. So this June, 28th of June 2025, based on the European Disability Act, all products and services will have to be accessible. And by then, all UE member states will have to adopt local laws where this makes it possible. Also, this act will give the opportunity to citizens to file a suit if a product or service is not accessible. This will open up opportunities for new jobs. We will need people to mentor how we can make products accessible. We will need people to audit. There's so much room for growth. I just think the communities are open. I think that the business world will have to put more processes and be open to accept all those diversity joints.
This question makes me think one thing, and it's about the quote that machines will replace humans. And my input to that is I think that machines and humans are like a partnership, I would say. And about the jobs, I think many jobs in the future will be punished, but many others will be created. And for the programmer's perspective, our job will evolve significantly. I think that many jobs like AI trainer or intelligent, sorry, I don't know the word. I would say that high-level designers, that maybe we will conceptualize the solution and then we will leave the low-level hard work to the machines.
I mean, does anyone want to go?
Okay, there's of course this hot trend of AI. I think it will be integrated some way, especially for the developers' work. However, we will always need human beings with critical thinking. That's the baseline of it, I think.
I personally think that machines will not replace humans. People will always be needed. We may evolve, we may change, but we will not lose our job. I don't want to be pessimistic. I am optimistic. I think this will open up a different direction to our world. We just need to be adaptive and very open to change.
Talking about AI, I'm gonna delve into something where it's like there is a lot of biases in AI, and a lot of it has to do with someone has to train this AI, right? And most of the people training this AI are white men, right? That's it. So this has been an issue for a very long time, even before now. Like this has been an issue with like even in a lot of police stations and stuff in the US, for example, will have used like AI to determine if you're going back to jail, and guess who goes more back to jail according to their, it's not white people. So this has been an issue for a very long time. Like these AIs are trained by people who have their own biases, right? And that's something that, yeah, like, I don't know, does anyone want to add anything to that? It just sounded like it was me complaining.
Yes, I think a great issue is that we have data sets that are data sets with bias, and this is a huge challenge. How can we create data sets that are diverse? How can we train our AI algorithms so that we are removing biases? I think right now we are working on that. We are not yet there, but as we progress and with all these acts and movements around accessibility and inclusion, I think things will speed up.
have nothing much for AI, but I would like to say, yeah, consciousness is very important. Like, for having a diverse data set, we should be willing to have a diverse data set. So I think that with all these accessibility and diversity and inclusion topics, I hope that the companies consider and understand that they have to have all these good data sets. But I'm not an expert in AI, so I'm not going to add anything more to it.
I'd like to add something because you referred to bias and how AI models are trained. So actually, how they are trained, we give them data and we describe this data by annotation. So we explain to the machine what the data represent. The thing is that we don't give enough data for every group to be represented. So this has to be taken care of, and this is what causes bias. And it's true that because certain groups are more overrepresented or better represented, you have bias, and it's been for a lot of years, it's not something new. That, for example, HR, AI models take decisions and discriminate, for example, women towards men, or for example, there was an example with Twitter that cropped the images of white persons in a better way than with black persons. And it was a tweet between Trump and Obama that has hidden Obama's face because it didn't recognize it, but it recognized Trump's face. So stuff like that, we should take care of. It's not nice.
I think also like we're literally running out of data.
Sorry?
Like I think we're also kind of like running out of data to a point where like a lot of the reasons Gemini is wrong all the time is because all their data is from Reddit. And like I don't know about you, but like I don't go to Reddit for like, you know, actual factual information. Like that's why if you ask them the best way to cook pizza, they'll tell you to put like put glue on it. Because someone on Reddit said that as a joke. And like basically we need to teach AI what a joke is. Okay.
Can I add just a more detail? I mean, we were for coffee last night and we were talking for about an hour between services and the things we have to do between the changes we see between countries. And we see so many difficult situations and how the system is broken and so many things we can improve. So why not scared about AI? We have so many things to resolve and improve and make it better. We are not there yet.
Fixing the government usually doesn't bring people money. I can answer that real fast. I mean, I think the fact is, like, the same way there are biases for, you know, the overrepresented people in AI, there's also, like, in UX, for example. Like, I think UX in general is built for able-bodied English speakers, right? Like, in general, that's how a website is made. So, yes, does anyone want to talk about that?
Yes, so there is a trend in UX world because of accessibility. So there is this concept design for the edges, because if you design for those that are not in numbers, the massive audience, you will be able to cover their needs, but also the most common things that the main audience is interested. But this concept has not been fully adopted. I strongly believe because of all these changes, the accessibility coming, we will see things changing in the design, not the development process for models. And just so that we can sum up, one of the things that I say is accessibility is not a feature. When we start creating a product that's accessible, we will have to modify our processes in order to include this aspect. I compare it with security. So when we are building products, we don't want to build the product and then at the end consider the security aspects. We don't want to put out there a product that's not secure. It's the same way with accessibility. And I think, Stella, you have to add something on security.
I'm rooting for you. Actually, yes, you can have a secure product when you think of security in the end, because maybe not possible to add security in the end. So we take care in my line of work to create secure products from the requirements phase, then design phase, then building code phase, and then even testing in production. So you have to take care of it in every step of the development, and both accessibility and security are two non-functional requirements that should be taken care of in every step of development.
And I think that's all for the questions, unless I don't want to give you all like 20 seconds or something to leave some final remarks if anyone wants to say something.
I'll start. So I think the future is bright. I think we just need to be more open, more accepting of the people. It doesn't matter if we are women, if we are white or colored people. It doesn't matter if we have cognitive issues or not. We just need to find a way to work with each other and be accepted. That's
I would like to say, let's be considerate and supportive to everyone regardless. Let's not assume anything for everyone. Like it's for all the genders, for all disabilities and everything. We need to be more accepting and supportive of everyone because we are all in for each other, right? So let's keep that in our industry.
Yeah, like I think there are statistics and results shows that if a company is more diversified, you build better products. And you have more perspective because if you only crowd a room with a full of guys, they have a certain way of thinking about things, and if you have a room full of girls, they have a way of thinking about things. And when people cry together, they cry about the same thing. But if you combine two of them, you all know like how do we make a better product to be accessible to everyone. So I think it's good for the best of like everyone's life.
I would close by saying that we need to rise to the challenge and design for everyone and not for the majority. And user experience and user interfaces are not just about convenience. I think it's about connection, and connection should have no boundaries.
My final comment, I'd like to be on women representation in tech world. Some may think that women may not want to participate in this field. However, the last couple of years I have been a public speaker, and in every chance I have the opportunity to go out there and give a talk. A lot of women, younger women, approach me and tell me it's so good to see a woman out there. We need it so much. We need to have a role model, and it is important because you show to them that it is possible and they belong there. So I think this is also important. Make pass the message that everyone belongs here.
I don't know what to say on the last one, but I think you covered everything. I hope that in 1 year from now, that we don't need a talk or a panel for women and representation. I think we have to sort this and move forward and discuss about other things and other minorities and start talking about how we can be inclusive to anyone without using the word women, but using the word human or something, people, and that's it.
I mean, to be fair, COVID has shown that God does not care about your gender or your race, literally nothing. You're all the same. Okay, so my only thought is just be nice to each other. Just in general, just don't really care what people are doing. Just be like, as long as it's not affecting you in any way, like, why do you care? Like, I feel like that's just how I live my life in general. It's like, just do your thing. Just be happy. I don't care. Which I guess is a very Mediterranean way of living, to be fair. Now that I'm thinking about it. It's too hot! I'm not gonna fucking move.
Is that how like you feel excluded from the conversation? Like people say hi guys and then you feel excluded. One way to solve that, just jump right in and ask
ask them, hey, I'm here. Oh, I can do that sometimes. But you gotta do it in the tone of joke though.
Yeah, like.
You gotta be like, you know. The more you know. Yeah. I just say, I have a question. What are these guys you talk about? Yeah, you gotta do it in